The day started like any other for Daniel, a single dad who had learned to live his life in quiet, careful rhythm. He woke up before sunrise, packed breakfast for his 6-year-old daughter Lily, made sure her hair was tied neatly in 2 tiny braids, and walked her to school with a smile that hid the constant worries in his chest. Bills, schedules, exhaustion. These were the silent companions of every parent doing it alone. But he never complained. Lily's laughter was worth every sleepless night. After dropping her off, he headed to his job at a mid-sized marketing firm. Nothing glamorous, nothing loud, just steady work that paid enough to keep food on the table. Daniel kept his head down, worked hard, and rarely drew attention to himself. He wasn't the flashy type. Life had humbled him early when Lily's mother walked out, leaving a note and a cold goodbye. Since then, Daniel decided emotions were like fire, warm from a distance, dangerous up close. So imagine his shock when one afternoon his name appeared on the CEO's calendar. Not just any CEO, Amelia Hart, brilliant, untouchable, the woman whose name alone intimidated boardrooms and investors around the globe. She was 36, elegant, powerful, and so composed that people barely breathed when she walked past. Rumors said she lived for her work, that love had no space in her world, that her heart was guarded behind walls higher than her penthouse windows. So why did she want to see him? Daniel straightened his worn jacket and stepped into her office, expecting something about a campaign he'd worked on. But she wasn't behind her desk. She was standing near the window, staring out over the skyline, as if searching for courage among the clouds. When she turned, her expression wasn't stern or corporate. It was human. "Daniel, I need your help," she said softly. He nodded cautiously. "Of course. What do you need?" She took a breath, the kind people take before jumping into deep water. "I want a baby." Silence filled the room. No laughter, no awkward smile. She was absolutely serious. "And you want me to?" His voice broke before he finished. Silence filled the room. No laughter, no awkward smile. She was absolutely serious. "And you want me to?" His voice broke before he finished. She nodded gently. "Yes." Daniel froze. The ground didn't feel steady anymore. His thoughts raced, confusion, shock, disbelief, all colliding at once. "Why me?" he whispered. Her gaze didn't waver. "Because you're a good father. Because you're kind. Because you don't want anything from me. And because I trust you." Trust, a word more valuable than gold. Amelia wasn't asking for romance. Not marriage, not fairy tales. She wanted partnership in the purest form, a child to love, a legacy of heart rather than money. She didn't want an heir. She wanted a family. And she had chosen him. Daniel laughed nervously, trying to process it all. "Amelia, this isn't exactly a small favor." "I know," she replied quietly. "But I've built companies, empires, success. That means nothing when I come home to silence. I don't want to wait anymore. And I want someone who understands what it means to care, not for status, but for life." Her honesty disarmed him. This wasn't a CEO talking. This was a woman, a lonely one. He thought of Lily, the little girl who ran into his arms every afternoon with drawings, and stories and unconditional love. He knew how it felt to have purpose, wrapped in tiny hugs and sleepy whispers of "I love you, Daddy." He also knew the pain, fear and sacrifice behind it. And he realized Amelia had never known either. He swallowed hard. "If I say yes, this child isn't just your dream. It becomes my responsibility too." She nodded immediately. "I would never take that away from you. I want you involved, not as an accessory, as a father." Those words struck him deeply. Father. Not donor, not contract. Father. The gravity of that word echoed in his bones. He went home that night in a daze. Lily was asleep, curled like a kitten under her blankets. He watched her small chest rise and fall and wondered, could he do this again? Was he ready? Was it fair? But another question whispered in his mind. If life offered you the chance to change someone else's world, would you take it? Days passed. He weighed every angle, every consequence. And then one morning, he walked back into Amelia's office, this time with resolve instead of confusion. "I'll do it," he said simply. Her eyes glistened, not with victory, but with gratitude. And so their journey began. Not romantic, not chaotic, but deeply respectful. They spent time together, not as boss and employee, but as two people learning to understand one another. Daniel discovered that Amelia laughed with her whole heart when she finally allowed herself, that she loved children's books, that she feared failure not in business, but in love. She learned that Daniel cooked pancakes shaped like animals because Lily liked them, that he read bedtime stories in silly voices, that he'd rather struggle quietly than ask for help. Slowly, gently, their worlds intertwined. Months later, the moment came. A tiny heartbeat appeared on a screen. Their child, their future, their breath caught at the same time. "I'm going to be a father," Daniel whispered, even though he already was. Somehow it felt new all over again. A second chance at wonder, a second child to love. Amelia didn't speak. "Shh,"